Your Cinema Podcast, exploring our stories and showcasing our culture. All right, guys, so we're here for another episode of the Your Cinema Podcast with myself, Pierre, and Anthony Caballero, our site editor and
Yep.
script development producer, if that's even the title, but he does a lot of serious things, so people must know, must know. Yeah, how are you today, man?
Man, I'm good, really good. Still in lockdown, looking forward to leaving, but still being productive.
Good. So our topic for today is where do we go from now? Or where do we go from here? And I guess I was just wondering, right, in terms of, like so many people that are like creating content, creating films, are, that so many people have their eyes set on like BAFTAs, Oscars, Emmys, all of these things, which are, these are all amazing accolades. Um, but I was just thinking, what happens when you get one?
Mm.
It's like cool, like you work, and imagine like, for example, someone's gone to drama school, they've gone to film school. Imagine even film school is so much money, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've paid that, and then let's say you've made work and then it's done awards or you've got signed, and then years after spending all that time and effort in film school, then you get the BAFTA, what's next? Or then you get the Oscar, because I guess
Yeah.
that's the highest, isn't it? Like then what?
Mm.
Like what would you do? Like what happens if in 3 years you win an Oscar for a
Like
script that
what?
you've
Like
written?
what do you? I feel like, man, like it would get to that point where you're like, oh my gosh, like I've done it. But I feel like then it depends on how you measure your success by. Like
Mm,
are you measuring it by an award, which I guess you can shelve and look at every day when you wake up. But then
mm,
I think there's how some people have that fear where, for example, imagine winning an Oscar and then thinking to yourself, can I do that again? Like, am I capable of reaching that height again? And I guess I don't know how many creators feel that, but I feel like that's definitely a thing. And I feel like that kind of you'd be in a place of both joy and also just wondering what would happen. If it was me, I think it would just be onto the next thing.
mm. It's interesting, man, because I feel like I know you haven't watched that episode yet,
Mm.
but in terms of Small Axe and Steve McQueen, the first episode, Mangrove, yeah, it's like he's won an Oscar, like he's done it. He's he's done Widows. He's like he's on that high. Um, and I'm sure it was a long journey. In fact, you know what? Let me see how long he's been directing for. Yeah, cool. So according to IMDb, imagine 1993.
Before my wow, man, for my time, man.
Wow, 1993.
That is crazy. That is crazy. What was that? Was it just
That
was
was a
that
short.
or wow, man?
That was a short. So he spent from 1993 up until no, that doesn't make sense. No. That doesn't make sense. Up until 1993, according to IMDb,
Hmm.
he did shorts up until 2009.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, like for TV or just shorts?
I don't know. It's just shorts.
Man,
Wow.
man.
Then he did Shame, which I haven't watched. I'm just reading it, so I'm not gonna act like, hey, I watched this. Um, and then he did 12 Years a Slave.
Man.
This wait, let me Google something else because
Yeah.
I don't want to get this thing wrong. So 12 Years a Slave was his second feature. Nah, that doesn't make sense. Wait, let me get this right. Let me get this
You-
right. That doesn't make sense. Are you serious? Wow. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. The reason why I was asking you is
yeah.
because with with him, he's done it. Yeah. When you watch Mangrove, it's kind of like the idea of, oh, yeah, he did his first film in 2008, first feature.
Wow.
Imagine. Wow, that's very interesting. So, yeah, reason why I was asking, right, is because when you even when you just think about small acts, yeah,
Mm,
that is like he has made something that, and I'm sure this is probably the case for everything he does, yeah. But for me, when I watched it, there was like there was social purpose in there.
yeah.
Obviously, to be fair, you don't need to apply that to everything you do, but it was really like, you know what? There's social purpose in there, which is something that transcends winning an award,
Mm,
because an award, when you receive an award, it's about you.
yeah.
And obviously, you're not the person that gives yourself the award. But when people, if someone makes a film or makes content just to do those things,
Mm,
it's about them, isn't it? The majority of the time.
yeah.
But then with something like Small Axe, that's like, yo, even if he did do it for, hey, because he wants to win an award, which I guess is a bit unlikely, to be fair, just because it just feels so, it for me, the emotions that it triggered were very like real
Mm,
and very quite thought provoking in terms of like, oh, right, is that what it was like? Oh, how come I didn't know that much about Dark as How? Almost feeling a bit ashamed
yeah.
because of how important their case was and that scenario.
Mm,
And it just made me think, do you know what? Yeah, when you're in the sphere to be able to make content that's impactful like that, hey, the awards don't like an award is a bonus.
yeah. I was about to say that. Yeah. To
Do you know what
me,
I mean?
I feel like he's always been someone that he doesn't really like. I don't think it's for the award. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I know he's one. That's for 12 Years a Slave, right? The
yeah.
Oscar, but I don't think he made that content thinking this is gonna win an Oscar. Where I feel like there are some people, maybe some creatives out there who just want that those accolades or that recognition from something they've done. But I feel like in his work, the recognition is from the people and not like the bodies behind the award ceremony. And I feel like the people that he wants, not even that kind of, he just wants people to connect with his work, which is why I think his work is so topical. So with Small Axe, for example, it's funny because his like the story of Mangrove, I have a friend who it's about her grandparents. So
Really?
yeah, like I remember she told me like probably 2 years ago that this person that Steve McQueen is gonna make a story about her grandparents, and this was in uni, and I was like, really? I was like, and she's like, yeah, but obviously it's hush hush, and I was like, all right, cool, because when someone tells you something, and I didn't really know her too at the time because
Yeah.
when I first met her, but we are talking about film, and then she was like, so I was like, tell me a little about them, and she told me, but this was ages ago, and now look, so I feel like the reason why he's so recognized. And I feel like that came as a bonus because he's so in touch with the culture as it is or the
Mm,
stories. And I think for him, I don't even think the award, obviously it probably matters, but I don't think it's his be all or end all.
mm. Hey, wait a minute, right? So what? Which one? Which grandparents were in the Mangrove Nine? of this girl?
I need to ask her because you said my granddad's in it, so it features like it's her granddad's story. So
Wow.
yeah, and I was like, man, and this is ages ago. So I still need to reach out to her and just maybe I should ask her. Definitely ask her and see. But yeah,
Yeah, man. I think that's interesting. What do you when you make content? What's in your heart? What do you want to do when you're making it?
so I was literally thinking that. So as you know, like I'll bring up this story because it's actually funny. But so I was speaking to my manager the other day, and he was telling me like one of the reasons why I got my role where I am,
Mm,
and basically for this role, like they only take one person. And when I say like hundreds of people applied, yeah,
mm,
said the reason why I got it, which I think this is just applies to me in terms of creating. He said when I was in the interview and he asked me what I want to do in the future, I was the only person in the interview who said that I wanted to give back. Like I wanted to create and then teach other people how to do it because I feel like I had to learn. I just had to go about and learn. Like, and people like you, Pierre, like you helped me out and stuff like that. And I kind of want to be in a position where I do that. And I was the only person in the interview that said that. And I feel like in terms of creating for me, it's the same thing, man. I want to like be in a position where I can like almost teach, like kind of guide people. Like this is just make it easier. You know what I mean? So
mm,
I'll say for like that's probably my goal, just to be in that space where um there's you break down barriers for people, so it's not a struggle. Like you don't have to feel like you're breaking into the industry almost. You can just kind of walk in and it's
mm.
accessible, which I don't like even now. I really don't feel like it's accessible to everyone, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. And you know what, right? How do you feel that it's maybe not accessible to everyone?
It's it's so weird because I remember one person I talked to in my previous job. He was saying that like in terms of so like he was talking about script development and he was saying that it's actually not like he said film is actually not hard to get into when you know how or TV. It's just that people within the industry will make it seem that way. And for me, I was like,
Mm,
man, that's crazy to hear because you obviously that there's some people who can easily get a I don't know like a TV role because of their who they know, and I feel like
mm,
everyone says the industry is really who you know, and I feel like if there's anything I wanted to teach people is that you kind of have to have smarts. I feel like you shouldn't be intimidated by the fact that it may seem like there's a lock and key system to it that you need a key to get in, when really
mm,
you just you just have to be almost like street smarts when it comes to it. So I feel like for me, knowing that it feels good, like it kind of worked out. But in the beginning, it really felt like a different world. It felt like a world like if I was on set, it just felt like I don't know if you see the Matrix, but how Neo has like two lives. It
yeah.
really it really felt like that. Like this was a world I wanted to be in, but I couldn't quite get there, and I didn't know how. And then I'd return to like my normal life. It was really strange. It was very
Mm,
strange, man. Yeah.
that's interesting. So, what do you want to do for creatives then, in terms of in the future and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say for me in the future, it's just I just really want to work with people, like new talent. Because I feel like every time I'm on set or in the past when I've been on set, I've met
Mm,
like a variety of different people, different just different backgrounds, different like stories. And I feel like there's so many stories that need to be told, but I feel like there's so many people you talk to, or so many people that I even went to uni with that wanted to do film, but it's like they've given up on it already. And like even when I have conversations with some people I went to uni with, I'm like, oh, what are you doing now? And they're like, oh, I'm not doing what I like, but I'm doing this and it pays, And then so I feel like for me, it's just getting people to not kind of give up on that because it's possible, but it just seems like I said earlier, it just seems like there's no way in, and really, there is, and I think that's probably one thing that I would like to break down for people a bit more.
that's a very good point, man. Because one thing I think I like about you, yeah, is that you're you're one of those people, right, who first off, like you're very professional, very pleasant, not overbearing, and all of that stuff, and that's a fine balance.
Mm,
But I think more importantly than all of those things, because I guess those things can be refined over time. Yeah, like you can learn. Like the more
yeah,
people you speak to, the more you learn how to not annoy them and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
but is that you're when you see an opportunity, you go for it.
Yeah.
And I don't mean go for it in the like Gary Vaynerchuk sort of type of. I'm not talking about in terms of, hey, you gotta go for it, man. You gotta go
Yeah.
for it, and
Yeah.
intense. I just mean like if you see something, you
Yeah.
will apply for it, or you'll go to that event. You
Yeah.
actually make some sort of effort.
Yeah.
Um, and you're very relaxed, so it can sometimes seem like a paradox, but you're very,
Mm.
very driven. And I feel like, is there enough? What do you think, I guess, in terms of the visibility of those opportunities that people could maybe go for? Because you seem to find them.
So that's the thing. I feel like so I really the way I see things is one opportunity always leads to another opportunity. And I feel like
Mm,
there's a big balance that you need to have because I feel like at the beginning, like when I wanted to get to the film industry, I felt like I was like a yes man, you know what I mean? Like someone would
okay.
say, "Do you want to come to this?" I'd be like, "Yeah," and they were like, and I would look at my schedule, and I'd see that I have like revision to do, all this to do, but I'd still put that over, and then I'd be like, "Yeah, yeah," and then I feel like after a while, you got to stop saying yes to things and kind of spy out what opportunities will actually help you and what you want to do. But admittedly,
Mm,
like early on, I just wanted to be on everything. So that's why I was saying yeah. And I'll give you like the opposite time of the time I said no, which I still regret to this day. So my friend, she works as a location manager on like different sets. And she was on Top Boy, yeah.
mm,
And she asked me if I wanted to be on Top Boy, like just as like in locations. And I remember saying, I was thinking, yeah, but then because I was tied down with work and uni at the time, I said no because I thought I've missed quite a lot because I've been on other sets. And then then when I talked to her, she said, yeah, I spoke to Dave, I spoke to the director, I spoke to and I was like, oh my gosh, man. I feel like
mm.
in terms of that kind of thing, you just at first I thought you have to say yeah. And if it's your passion, go for it. And like I said, one opportunity, it for me, how it just comes along, I'll go to one place, I'll just bring myself, my character. And then next time someone would say, like, as you know, like for example, that small act thing.
Yes, yeah, you want to say, innit?
Yeah. So how that came about is I went to the set of a HBO show called Industry.
Come on, my G, come on.
And there I
Yes.
literally just talked to everyone and I said, oh, hi, how you doing? Like just wanted to, because I generally like to get to know people. And then
Mm.
I got connections. And then I got a message saying, oh, I'm going to be on set for Small Act next week. Do you want to come? And I was free. So I said, yeah, but I feel like it's literally that kind of thing. Once you go to one place, you meet other people. And then I met more people on that set. And I think that's literally how it unfolds.
Come on. Yes, yes, yes. That is the work ethic, man. So in terms of accolades, right? What are some of the accolades it would be nice for you to have across your illustrious burgeoning career that is on the horizon?
For me, man, I feel like for me, it's just I've always had this vision, ever since I was young, it's just creating something and being on the set for it and watching it. To me, it's not an award, but I feel like seeing, like I said before, is that seeing other people get together and create something which you put passion into, like blood, sweat, and tears, and seeing it actually. There's something beautiful about seeing it being created, and I think to me that's like one accolade. And I think there's a whole getting people around, like gathering the people that worked on it, people who haven't seen it, to sit there and watch it. And I think I've always wanted some kind of like writing recognition as well. So
Mm,
yeah, so one day hopefully God given I'll get there. And
come on.
yeah, it's that I just love to see like on the big screen written by Anthony. I feel like
Yeah.
it made me smile, man.
Oh, that's good. That is good. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Cool. 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 No, it sounds good. It sounds good. I think definitely. I mean, for me, having purpose
Mm,
behind each piece of content is
yeah,
like really, really, really important. And try and make sure that is in there for me from a personal standpoint. Like it has to be entertaining. If not, then why are we doing this? But
exactly.
it's always nice for me to know what the purpose is behind it.
Mm,
Um, But no, that's good. That's good. That's good. And you know what? Like, yeah, when the awards come, they come. But I guess it's like your favorite artist's first album.
Yeah.
When it like they, especially if they're making it in obscurity,
Hmm.
and it's like, you know, when you interview them, it's like, you know, I just made it for me and my friends.
Big
And
time. That's so funny. Yeah.
it's like, yeah, and that's why it was so pure.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely an essence to try and carry into things. So no, that's good. That's good.
I say
All
that's
right,
him.
I'll go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I don't think there's because I feel like it's different when you're a writer, director, if you're an actor. Because I feel like if you're an actor, then maybe you would want to achieve like you maybe you want people to see those roles. I can imagine because I know a few actor people that want to get the awards, you know what I mean? Because I
Mm,
feel like maybe there's more recognition in acting when you have that award and maybe you get leads to more roles. Whereas I feel like as a writer, you don't particularly need those kind of labels to be able to go on to the next thing. So I don't think there's any shame in wanting to get that recognition as well.
100. Do you know what? I'm so happy you said that, right? Because we released a video the other day, quick plug, about it was Adrian Lester on like a direct access Q&A for like some of
Yeah,
our members and stuff, right? So people sign up if you want like, you know, castings and information that can help you progress in the industry. Another quick plug. But he was talking about what I found really interesting about him, yeah, is that he really, really, really works on projects if
mm,
he wants to.
wow, yeah,
Yeah, that's his
yeah,
MO. You can see it, like he says it, but you can tell that like I think what he's saying is for real. And he made a point. He was like, do you know what? A lot of the times, like when you're meeting people, like you can tell whether they want this, they want to just be famous,
yeah,
um, or whether they want to do a particular role. And that's not for me to say whether one's right or wrong. Um, but I think what's interesting is if an actor does really like the craft, for
mm,
them not to forget that they like the craft,
yeah, definitely,
because it can be easy to start off liking the craft and then you get a bit of success whilst doing your craft, and then you chase the success thinking, almost replacing that with the craft,
mm,
and then it becomes all about the success.
definitely, yeah,
And the problem that could potentially rise out of that is if the work, if you have a gap in work, then you can almost feel like you're not as good as you actually are
mm,
because you abandoned the craft for the focus on success. Success is good, it's important. It
yeah,
actually is, I think. Um, but when you're so, when you, if you're able to remember that the craft, or yeah, it's a job, it's another job. That's how Daniel Kaluuya sort of looks at it. Like
mm,
when he does a role, cool, it's a job. Yeah, I've done the job.
yeah,
Like you can even see it in interviews. He's not really phased by the, like I'm sure he appreciates it because he's been acting a long time, but he treats it like, yeah, it's a job. It's a job. And
so
that's
true,
probably why he can, maybe he's chasing the craft so much that
yeah,
he's got it very firm in his mind that the all of these accolades are good and they're nice, but that's not why I do it.
exactly, yeah,
I just like to act, so I want to do it really well.
mm,
And the reason I'm talking about the gap is because I wonder if someone really likes the craft, if
yeah,
there's a gap in work, wouldn't you make stuff if you were able to? Because
that,
it's kind of like that thing where I was saying this to someone a few days ago, right?
Yeah.
And they're an upcoming actor, and I could tell there was a lot of, they wanted agent and all of that stuff, which is important to be able to, get bigger, more work and stuff. And it was that same conversation, and one thing that was apparent for me is like, you know what? Like, and to be fair, he was actually doing this. We just didn't get that far in the conversation, and I said it earlier than he actually told me. But it was like, you know what? If you want to act and you don't have an agent, but you're acting because you genuinely want to act,
Yeah.
then whilst you don't have an agent, if you aren't getting castings and all of this stuff, act still.
Yeah.
Because it's like people that play football every Tuesday with their mates, they play whether there's a scout there or not.
Mm.
They don't sit down for 12 months until the scout comes back. They're still out there playing just because they like it. Do you know what I mean?
So
And yeah, what were you gonna say?
to further that, it's like there's so many opportunities. Now, I don't think you can ever be in a dry spell when it comes to acting in terms of the opportunities. Because if you go on things like Backstage or Star Now, or like even like your cinema itself, like we have opportunities all the time. So you only it's there. Like you don't have to look far to get these things. And fair enough, some might not be paid, and there comes like a debate whether it's for paying the bills. But if you enjoy it, then there's so many ways that you can still get out there, even without an agent.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? It's true. And it's funny because remember when we were speaking to Shaq, yeah?
Yeah.
And he said, what did he say? He said that when it was lockdown,
Yeah.
and he wasn't getting any work, he went back into himself like, he's an actor because he acts, not because he gets auditions.
Yeah.
And then he started just doing stuff online, and then he got him work.
Exactly. He said he's doing monologues and stuff like that. That was inspired by that. But it's true, and I feel like that's almost like a higher test of yourself, right? If do you have to rely on someone to give you the role, or are you proactive? And I feel like no matter what, if you are still working on what you do, and you're not even thinking about other people, then that it will find you, because it's that energy you're kind of letting off, Similar to that, I posted like my business card on Facebook just for a joke the other day.
Yeah.
And because the design of it is like, it's like kind of a play on screenwriting.
Okay.
So I thought, you know what, let me put that out for fun. And then I got like emails from that people asking me to like edit and stuff. But the intention for me uploading it was literally just to engage with the people in terms of the joke that was my business card, but ended up becoming an opportunity. So I feel like the same way Shaq did the exact same thing, you know what I mean? And I feel like when you have that underlying passion, and you're not even thinking about what, like, you're not even stressing about like what you're gonna do in terms of the business side, then things will find you anyway, just naturally, it just happens.
That's a very good point, man. That's a very good point. Yeah, no, well, I think we can end it there, man. There's more past the accolades and before. I guess, yeah, they're a byproduct of what your core output is, isn't it? So I guess it's what the input, what you're drawing from in terms of your purpose to put stuff out that can help determine how you handle that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Cool. That's another episode of the podcast. See you guys next week. Your cinema.